Okay, Emmy fans, let's talk about the races for comedy series, actor and actress. We're here with Lynette Rice of Entertainment Weekly and with Ken Tucker of Yahoo. Lynette, you first. We've all got Veep out front. It won last year. It's a presidential election year with a woman at the top of the Democratic ticket. Can this show possibly lose?
No, I don't think it. This is no. I just it won't. And it's what you spoke of earlier. I mean, it's gold to the snobs. Louis-Dreyfus is a bona fide television star, and that's what continues to drive that show. So yeah, I think they're gonna win. They're just gonna win. I mean, I would love to see a little Big Bang Theory love. Even how cute would it be for Kimmy Schmidt to win? But I can't see Kimmy Schmidt beating by Veep. I just can't.
I think the only competition possible or surprise upset would be Blackish, which I think has a lot of momentum and did some really magnificent work this year as well. But that said, I think it's Veep all the way.
What about Silicon Valley? It keeps getting nominated. Do you think there's any chance there, or is it like Entourage? It's about a bunch of young guys. The Academy's full of a bunch of old guys who think these young yahoos are a threat rather than something to be encouraged.
I love that show. I think it's so funny, and it's so damn clever. Kind of the dialogue, but yeah, I don't know if it. I don't know if enough of the voters have seen it. And frankly, if the voters are basing a lot of their decisions simply on word of mouth, I mean, Veep owns it, not Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley is like Big Bang Theory for smart people.
Correct. Oh, wait! Not yeah, I guess you're right.
And for that reason, I don't think it's going to win.
Yeah.
What about Transparent? This was the comedy, even though it's not a comedy, of course, of last year that swept all of the other awards, and of course it made Emmy history last year when Jeffrey Tambor won Best Comedy Actor. Never before had a streaming service ever taken a top category at the Emmys. It was an earthquake in the awards scene. Could it come back now that voters are familiar with it more, and actually win comedy series? What do you guys think?
I'm a real snob about this. I mean, although I put it in as a pick, I'm still a snob about whether it belongs in this category. I don't think it's a riotous, slap on the knee comedy. And I think, one of the reasons it won too was it was very much a flashpoint. It was the subject matter was very newsworthy, very relevant at the time. I mean, I think that window is past, and so while it may get a nomination, like what we predict, I can't see it winning.
Yeah, I agree with Lynette on almost all those points, and just personally, I find the show very overrated. I actually find it kind of irritating to watch. That whole family sort of annoys me. But putting aside my personal feelings, I don't think it'll win.
Hey, now, speaking of Amazon series here, Mozart in the Jungle won comedy series and lead actor at the Golden Globes. And of course, the Globes love to pick snobbish kind of artsy stuff. Last year they picked The Affair, and then it didn't get any traction at all at the Emmys. So is Mozart this year's The Affair? In other words, it does really well at the Globes, and we're not going to see it at the Emmys. Or do you think it could really break through? I think he has a real chance on the acting side. But let's stick with series for a minute. Do either of you guys think Mozart in the Jungle could be nominated?
I think Ken's one of those snobs because after all of our experts, there's only one other person who even suggested it, and it was Paul Sheehan. The rest of them it's like surely you jest. I talk about like overrated. I think that show is overrated. I can't see it going. I can't see it getting a nomination. But bully for Ken for including it. How sweet.
I didn't realize you're right. He's got it in his 7th position. Good for you, Ken. Is this wishful thinking, or do you think it's good really happen?
It's so precious that you like it. Yeah.
Yeah. How cute, how sweet. But the thing is, I put it on there even though I don't like this show, just because I'm trying to anticipate the mindset of voters, and I think it'll get nominated because not because I don't know why. Its appeal frankly baffles me, but I just have a feeling that there's this kind of momentum behind it. I mean, I think if the argument that Tom was making about Mozart could be applied to Master of None to a certain extent, because I think that Aziz has a kind of both a momentum and a kind of finger on the pulse of the way a lot of as an old guy, the way young people are thinking now and talking now, and the kinds of plots and situations that show unfolded for us. I think it was a terrific production.
Yeah, this year's whole scene in the Oscars, I mean the Emmys, is in desperate need of new contenders, and over on the drama side is Mr. Robot, and we don't really have anything, I think, except Master of None. On the comedy side, Mozart's in its second season, if it does get in. But Master of None is Netflix. It has the cool factor. It does speak to this this millennial generation, and I think it's been getting nominations along the scene. I could see it getting nominated. Lynette, you don't have it in your list, but Ken and I do.
I don't, but that's only because I needed to find a little spot for Big Bang Theory, and that's just like
okay.
I'm holding on for broadcast networks. I'm on their behalf, but I mean, everyone is right. I mean, I think that its chances are very good. I mean, that show's damn funny, and most people picked it. So I'm not very good at this, especially.
And look, there's lots of time to change our predictions.
Well, I haven't historically I haven't been good on this website, and I think it's good. At least I think it's good that I can't predict what the voters are doing. That at least they're remaining unpredictable for me. So I guess that's a good thing, because I'd hate for them to seem predictable, at least to me.
Lynette is just lowballing herself so that when she comes through with all these huge wins, and we all look like saps, she'll look great.
I have never won a car from this website. No, I've never done well.
Ken has won in the past. I forget what you won. Was it the nominations or the...
I think it was the nominations.
Yeah, you've won.
Wow.
Modern Family, it's still in the game here, right? It's going to be nominated, right?
Definitely, yeah. There's no way it's not.
If it wins, though, that would... I even think that it gets to the point, too, that even Steve Levitan's like, of course. I mean, he's going to have a speech ready, and he's going to try to be as funny as possible, and he will be funny. But I know that there's going to be a part of him that's going to, channel Meryl Streep's speech when she won, you're thinking, her again. And so, Levitan will think of some way to rip off of that. I know you're thinking, us again. But then, so I wouldn't put it past the Emmy voters to possibly even pick it again. My God. Yeah. And that's only just fatigue. That's not necessarily they're not deserving. I mean, they do a pretty dang good job. It's hard to make these shows last and do well.
Yeah, but to win, though, Lynette, it's got to beat Veep, and Veep is not going to be beat for all the reasons we said. Plus, I think it's better than ever this year. I think even though it's more vulgar than ever, Veep, my God, they're really, really trash-talking worse than they ever have, and it was always uncomfortable to watch in the first place. Now they're really, really getting down and dirty. But in many, many other ways, it's a better show than ever. So nothing's getting around Veep here. But Big Bang was not nominated last year. Let's remind everyone that's out. Maybe it could get back in. That happens sometimes. Lynette has Mom on her list. That could happen. We're missing this year Louis and Parks and Rec they're gone, so there are 2 slots that are open, and so they could be taken by shows we haven't even mentioned, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Getting On, Angie Tribeca, Casual. These shows are are right there on that cusp that they could break through. All right, comedy actor. Let's talk here. Jane the Virgin, I forgot to mention. Comedy actor here. So Jeffrey Tambor won last year. We've all got him down to win again. It's just like you can't vote against Jeffrey Tambor, right, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, even though the show irritates me, I think that he's doing a magnificent job, and I think that this season he was the one character that I wanted to follow that character's through line all the way through the season, and he was one of the few characters in that show that remained consistent for me. And I just don't see, when looking at the rest of the possible competition, that he has any strong usurpers to that crown.
I agree, except some of my editors here, who are wiser than I am, and usually beat me at my own game here, say that Will Forte could win. We all got him, have him on our list. Any of you guys think, or Aziz could win? Lynette, do you think either Aziz or Will Forte could actually win this?
Forte, no. Aziz, possibly, I think. But Will, I don't think so. It would be great if he did. I think you would hear a huge rush in the theater. It's like, yay, that's so cool. But I'm looking at all the picks, for all the experts, and everyone primarily picked Jeffrey Tambor, except of course this dude from ESPN, which I don't quite understand why he's doing picks. Can we do like a page of who's going to win the Heisman Trophy next year or something?
No. You know why we asked Adnan Burke to do this is on ESPN, which I don't watch, but my editors do. They say that he's always obsessed with, he's always taking over the conversation at ESPN to talk about show business awards, the Oscars and the Emmys. And Chris Beecham, our managing editor, who I have to say really knows the Emmys better than anyone on the planet, including me, and I wrote the only book on the Emmys. Chris has bullied me into letting Adnan join us because he thinks Adnan is utterly brilliant at all this. So
yeah, but he picked Patrick Stewart from Blunt Talk.
I know. He's just been mixing it up too because I've been wailing on him to update his predictions, so he's moving things around. He did very well at the Oscars, so it's his test run for the Emmys. So we're letting him run. But anyway, he's actually somebody obsessed with the Show Business Award. So
well, he picked Anthony Anderson, which I thought, it's nice, but everybody else picks Jeffrey Tambor to win, except for Don Kaplan from New York Daily News. He does Rob Delaney from Catastrophe.
I know, that's just... I know. I don't know. I think that what happens is the journalists who are new to this game, and we just invited Don to join us, and that is they start doing this wishful thing. It's like who should win and will win thing, and I haven't yet impressed enough on Don that it's who will win, not who should win.
Right. Well, he thinks Rob Delaney should win. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Rob Lowe is also in the running here. We should state missing from this category this year from last year, two previous nominees, Louis C.K. and Matt LeBlanc. That kind of opens up the field. So, and then we have Gael Garcia Bernal. Both Lynette and I have him on our list to be nominated. I think here's a case of where he certainly has the snob factor, the cachet of being the indie film darling, going all the way back to Y Tu Mama Tambien and since. So I think that if nothing else, when the actors, the snobs, see their list and they have to check off, I think it's 6 they check off. I think Gael could be somebody that they do. But if he doesn't make the list, I wouldn't be surprised. Anthony Anderson was nominated last year. I think he comes back. Jim Parsons was not nominated last year. Multiple past winner, of course. That was a surprise. But at the Emmys, you can be out one year and come back. Remember Holland Taylor from 2.5 Men? Poor dear, she just got dizzy looking at the Emmy nominations every year because she was in one year and out one year, and in one year and out one year, and in one year. Comedy actress. I don't have everybody's list here. Where do we stand? Oh, yes, I do. Okay, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, right? I mean, come on. Ken?
Yes, I mean it's got to be. I mean that she is giving one of the most sustained, brilliant performances of anybody, male or female, on television. She's got to win. When I look at anybody else on this list, they're so far a distant second that it's unbelievable.
This would be her 5th year in a row, Lynette, and that would mean she's broken that Helen Hunt 4 in a row for Mad About You. It would be her 6th win overall because she won one for New Adventures of Old Christine and she won in the supporting category for Seinfeld, and that would put her at 6, which is just one shy of Mary Tyler Moore and Ed Asner and all that. No. Or Ed Asner and all of them at 6. The pantheon of the most wins among actors is Cloris Leachman at 8, and then a cluster of like Mary Tyler Moore and Asner and the rest of them. And and she would join that elite group if she wins again, and of course she will.
How mindful are voters of those kinds of historical precedents that you're citing?
They don't know at all. And even the stars don't. You know, when I see Julia Louis-Dreyfus or any of my staff, she runs into the party. She goes, "Let's sit down and go through the numbers again. If this happens, and then I get how many nominations do I have more than Lucille Ball?" And Allison Janney is now, I think, in second place or third. She's up there. She's got a million of these things. And so when we see her too, she just clears a table. Sit down. Tell me again where I am in this list. They're not. And Cloris Leachman knows that she's out front, and she's so mean that she'll kill you if you don't. Anybody tries to take her on. But who else is in the running here? Lily Tomlin, Rachel Bloom, Ellie Camper. Oh, Amy Schumer. Could she win, you guys?
This is an exciting category. I mean, I didn't pick Lily Tomlin, but there's so many great potential between Julia and Ellie Kemper and Amy Schumer, and then Rachel Bloom from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and then I think Constance Wu from Fresh Off the Boat. I mean, she's the one breakout performance from that show, and then even Tracy Ellis Ross. Though, I mean, those are my picks, but this could be a really exciting category for the first time in a long time, and I'd be good with any of these chicks winning. Any of them, because they're all, I mean, there's all so much fun. And as we already know, this is a fun category at the Emmys, and I bet you these hens will have something great planned, too, whatever, when it comes around time.
I'm always intrigued when somebody somebody from a show, I'm thinking of Amy Schumer now, that's a non-sitcom, conventional sitcom show, more of a sketch show, becomes a likely contender in a category like this, whether the format of their show works for or against them, and maybe that sort of wild card element works to her advantage in that sense.
Generally, no. Generally, if you pit kind of skit shows against more narrative shows, the narrative shows tend to win. But Amy Schumer just defies all that. She's so cool. She's like the it girl, and every year she gets more and more cool, and she's like the queen of all this now. And I think that's just, with this new popular vote they have at the Emmys, it's just kind of a very tempting thing for them to check off whether they've seen her show or not. But I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I think she's just at her peak. She keeps getting more and more formidable every year, and I cannot see her being denied. There were two nominees from last year not coming back: Lisa Kudrow from The Comeback, Amy Poehler, who is still Emmy-less. The poor Amy Poehler, after all these years, for Parks and Rec, is off the list. America Ferrara is also in the running, of course. Melissa McCarthy has won in the past. She could make this list. But I think that we pretty much isolate and narrow down the leading contenders here. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I hope there's more than one good surprise. I mean, usually there's one surprise, but there's just not a lot of surprises. And I wish there were, because it just makes the show that much more entertaining. I hope that every year.
And I think that's why I've pinned my hopes so much on Mr. Robot, because I feel like it's such a entertaining show. It's such an innovative show. It's not on premium cable. I just wish that that show in particular could make a breakthrough.
Yes, it would be good for television. Yes.
Yeah.
I think under the old system that very well could have happened, because he plays a very kooky, neurotic, psychotic even character, and he's very appealing as a person. He's sympathetic as a character, as much a victim as he is a perpetrator, and he's diabolical, and he's as much an anti-hero as a hero, and fascinating and sexy and all these great things all at once. But the voting system now, it's in its second year. The new system, I'm not a fan of it at all. I think popular choice just pays off the automatic winners. And if we're right, or if I'm right there, to be pessimistic about the new voting, it means that the old surprises that used to happen, with like Bryan Cranston winning for Breaking Bad that first year when no one knew the show was on the air, and it was, and he had that great episode. He managed to get nominated, and he won. I just, it's those upsets aren't going to happen anymore. Kira Sedgwick wouldn't win under the new system like she did recently. You had Celia Ward win in the past. You had those kinds of upsets. So if you're looking for surprises, Lynette, I don't think we're going to see surprises anymore at the Emmys ever, as long as they have this new voting system.
That does it. I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I'm done then. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's it. That's it. Throwing up my hands.
Turn this off.
I know. Let's hope I'm wrong. Hey, Margot Martindale won last year in the guest category, so maybe there's still hope.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Don't beat me on my predictions on my own website this year. I'm very sensitive about that.
No worries about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're safe.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.